morning, my beautiful babes and babettes. I'm your resident active advocate, and I'm doing a video on time today. Yay! Right? So, today I would like to talk to you about the book By the Shores of Silver Lake by Laura Ingalls Wilder. Spoiler warning. Yesterday I did not give you a spoiler warning because I don't recommend the book Heidi to anyone. I mean, your own strokes, your own folks, your own books, no. But yeah, read what you like, but I don't recommend that one just because of the whole narrative background that I presented to you. This book, though, Silver Lake, I have more of an ambiguous relationship with this book because the Little House books were very much a part of my childhood, as well as the Little House TV show. Now, we're going to get to some disparities between the two of these. In the books, Mary's subplot, the eldest sister, her subplot in this book is that she's gone blind due to scarlet fever, and yes, this did happen back in the day, quite frequently even. And the whole arc of her story is basically her just getting used to functioning blind. But in the book, it's also very tacitly understood that she will never marry, she will never live independently, she will never be able to hold down a job, etc., etc., etc. In the show, here's where the disparity comes in. She goes to a school for the blind in the show. This did not happen in the book, nor did this happen in real life, because these books and the shows are also adaptations of what actually happened in the Ingalls Wilder lifetimes and storylines. But in the show, Mary is sent to a school for the blind, initially very much against her will. But she meets there a teacher of the blind who is about her own age. His name is Adam. And later on in the show, they end up getting married. He is also blind. And the problem I have with the show is that that is not revealed to Mary by Adam until later on in their relationship. So he's capable of doing all of these great things. He teaches the blind. He knows Braille, of course. He knows basically just how to function like a, quote, ordinary human being. But Mary does not know that he's blind until later in their relationship, because I remember the clip from the show that I looked up for this, is that she says, "Can I feel your face? I've never seen your face before." And he allows her to do so. And then after she has done so, he asks her whether he can feel her face. And she's like, "What?" And he says, "I've never seen your face before either." So that's when she is first informed that this man is blind. She had not known before that point, as I say. The whole feeling of the faces thing that you see sometimes done in media, you don't do that in real life. Okay, you don't. It's unsanitary. B, it's quite a violation of personal space. I've never seen two people who are completely blind ever do this with one another. Now, neither of them, so far as I am aware, in Adam's case anyway, was born blind. Mary was not born blind. So she has a concept of color. You know, he says to her, like, "I have brown hair, I have blue eyes." And she says to him, "I have blonde hair and I have blue eyes." So I'm assuming that if he has a concept of color at all, he was not born blind. If you are born blind, you will have no concept of color whatsoever. You will have no concept of black and white. All of these things are described and can only be described in relation to one another. I believe I did say this in my initial video about blindness, but try describing color to a person who was born blind. It's not going to work. But getting back to the actual book, in the books, Mary does not meet this man. Mary does not go to this school. Mary does not marry this man. Mary lives with her mother and father, and then with her sister Carrie, and then with her sister Grace. Those are both her two younger sisters. She never actually lives with Laura, but she never gets married. She never learns, so far as I'm aware, she never learns Braille. You know, she's just this sort of in the corner in the rocking chair, quietly sitting in the quote dark, because blindness is not darkness, okay? I want to describe to you that blindness is ostensibly trying to see out of your ears. They're not built for vision, okay? They're not built for vision. It's like you can't even imagine seeing out of your ears. You can turn your head to look at where your ear had just been, but you can't see out of your ears, okay? Imagine that, but out of the front of your face. It's very difficult for you to imagine that, I know. But the whole idea behind Mary's story is the poor thing narrative, you know, and I am morally ambiguous about this whole thing because they take good care of her to the degree to which they are capable. You know, they never ship her off to any sort of asylum or to any sort of home for the blind or, you know, things like that. They always take care of her within the family. But that was also the expectation at the time. And the expectation at the time was that you keep your people with disabilities out of sight. This came along with the Industrial Revolution, yes, but even before then. And this comes right down to us from the Bible. This comes right down to us from the Bible. People with disabilities were considered status non grata. You know, we couldn't, it's not that we couldn't, it was that it was sort of expected that we wouldn't get married, have kids, have a job, have a life, be independent. You know, it was not encouraged that we do any of these things because we were to be kept away from the normies, quotation marks, you know, from all y'all who don't want to catch the disease or whatever. You know, I talk about this in my video, The Fear of Disability, and just this whole idea of catching a disability from someone whom you have more or less been taught or conditioned to tacitly fear because, you know, it's not normal. It's not me. What do I do with this thing? I got to put it in a box. You know, we define ourselves by the other. And the more other you can make something, the more you can write it off. So in terms of what happens with Mary, yes, she is taken care of, as I say, but she is othered from society and she is not expected to participate. I have a problem with that. The modern world, thank God, has a problem with that, or at least for the most part. So consider this a rant from the political and social left, of which I am a proud part. But the narrative does get better from here on out, more or less. You will notice throughout this series a bit of a relation between timeline and the rights, privileges, and status attributed to people with disabilities. Mostly. That's not always the case, but we'll get there. All right, so that is my video for today. Hope you have enjoyed. Go read this book. It's quite good. If you haven't read the Little House books, I encourage you to do so. They're for a younger audience than I'm probably speaking to at the moment. But, you know, they're still very good. If they weren't part of your childhood, make them part of your adulthood, because I rather like them. And, yeah. All right, I will see you all tomorrow to talk about the next book. Yet again, I forget what it is, but I have a list. Haha. All right. Fairly well. Bye. Mwah.